Welcome everybody. Let me see. Welcome everybody. Welcome to Lake State Media and Eagle Media. Thank you for joining us. Let me welcome my guests this evening, this morning, and this night, wherever you're tuning in. For those of you tuning in Clubhouse, YouTube, and also in Facebook, welcome. Thank you. Let me welcome my guests in the studio with me, Mr. Tut Riek Jikany. So welcome to Lake State Media, my brother. Thank you for accept our invitation and coming here with the South Sudanese. We are delighted to have you. Before we dive in our conversation, I am asking those of you who are watching now right now share the video and also a little brief, and I will yield microphone back to Mr. Tut to introduce himself, who is he. But before that, I will just give you guys a brief who is Tut Riek. Tut Riek is one of the member of the Congress, the leadership of council representing Sub-Saharan Africa. And also he's one of the we know he's one of the young South Sudanese political activists, and also he's an educator. And also too, he's a founder of South Sudan. He's a CEO of South Sudan Democracy Institute, SSNDI. So that is a brief about him, and he will say more about himself, so that you guys can know who is Tut Riek. Welcome to Lake Media. Thank you for having you today. Give us a brief introduction about yourself before we start our discussion. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I just want to greet all your audience and all the stuff that you guys been doing. So it's a pleasure to be here to discuss certain things that are deeply tearing us apart in our country, and also our collective responsibility of us being not able to include ourselves in the nation building. So I'm happy. I'm happy that we're able to get this time to be able to elaborate more on certain things that we need to work on as one people. I'm happy. I'm happy that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me? Yeah, thank you. Can you a little bit? Can you tell us more about what you do, like as a member of World Congress Leadership Council, and also tell us a little bit about your movement, your organization, before we discuss our next topic.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, how I ended up becoming into the scene of activists, it all started just me being in a place where I see a lot of suffering with our people, and this started back in 2014 when I visited Upper Nile. I was in the Nasser area, and I saw that there was a men suffering due to the war that was happening at the time. So I began to speak out, sharing images of what's happening in our country on my Facebook page. And then, years down the road, it grew to seriousness where I was able to see abductions of transnational repression across borders. Certain activists were being abducted. Citizens were being killed across the country. So this become a huge a desire for me to be able to advocate, and then that grew a lot to the point where I actually began to affiliate myself with the political parties and trying to figure out where do I fit in the situation we're in. And I ended up being in Addis Ababa, where a lot of the peace agreement were signed in front of me. And at the time, I was in my early 20s. So as a young person looking at my future, seeing that there's no way I could be able to to find a job in a country where there's war, there's deep hatred with the tribes, there's division everywhere. So all of that built up a huge desire for me to be an activist, and up to all the way to 2021. And then 2022, World Liberty Congress was founded by Messi Al-Najjar. She's a journalist from Iran, Leopoldo Lopez from Venezuela, and also Gary Kasparov, a pro-democracy from Russia. And at the time, Peter Bier was released, and we've been advocating on such high profile, even with Dong Samuel, Samuel Dongloak and Igri, and those that were abducted like James Gadeda. And then we also, the first initial person that raised my eyes was Isaiah Abraham, who was murdered in December back in I think it was 2012. 2013 actually, on the 5th of December. So then all of this just added up, and then I ended up being able to meet Peter Bier and hear from what he went through and the stuff that were going on in our country. And then Peter was able to also work with World Liberty Congress. And then the World Liberty Congress were like, okay, we need activists all over the world. And the World Liberty Congress is a platform where we're fighting autocrats regimes. We in the South Sudan, we thought we were the only one going through this until we met over 50 countries that are going the same things that we're going through. And then that brought all of us together. And now, 4 or 5 years later, I am serving in the Leadership Council as representing Sub-Saharan Africa. And not only South Sudan, but I'm in an international platform where I am talking about the certain things that are happening in Sub-Saharan Africa. And as a young person that created an image that it's more than just me, and it's about the country that I represent, the countries, the voices from East Africa to West Africa. All of these things, I have to educate myself to know what exactly is happening in their countries and be able to be a voice for all of them. There's 9 members of us, but then all of us are able to work together collectively. And today, World Liberty Congress is a big platform that is be able to be a voice for many countries that are facing autocratic regimes. And outside of that, being a founder of South Sudan Democracy Network Initiative, I felt that youth need to distance themselves from political parties, from violence, because we are the majority. Right now, 70% are youth, the population, 7% are youth. So I felt if I distanced myself from political parties, focus on the gifts and talent that God has given me to promote nation building, this will have more impact, and I'll be able to connect with more than just people that are near me. I will be able to reach 10 states, 3 administrative areas in South Sudan. So this is where I felt at SSDNI would be a network of voices of nonviolence, because we know violence. All of us do. We grew up in it. We married in it. We went to school in it. There's a point where this has to stop, and it all starts with us. And that's why SSDNI partnership with all of these rights groups to be able to bring tools that we can use in South Sudan to empower the youth, rather than putting guns in our hands to further an agenda that we're not even included as of now. Youth are not included. If we have any youth that are in leadership today, we can count them by our fingers. So, and that's where I'm at today, where I'm joined with many of the young Africans and also other countries to be able to advocate for change in our countries.
Thank you so much, Tut, for a wonderful introduction and what you do. This is the wonderful thing, and this is our theme of the show today. Talk about the youth, the impact of the youth, whether in diaspora or back home. And before we go that, yesterday we have seen national prayers breakfast for the president hold for the first time in South Sudan history. Seen South Sudan got independent in 2011, and then 2 years later, South Sudan got into another civil war that where we are now, and seeing that people are South Sudan being in war and there's no peace and insecurity in everywhere in the country, and as a nation, the nation that founded on our people believe in God. So during the Haraka time, people we always pray that one day our people will get the freedom with deserve, and our faith shaped that, and which that lost 2013. Everything sexual boundary was broken. Yesterday, prayers. What do you think about yesterday? President came out, called all even though some of the political leaders are absent in that prayers, but that is starting point. So, what do you feel? I'm listening, I'm hearing some of the articles, some of the opposition out there criticizing it. They are not welcoming it. So, what is your perspective about yesterday prayers?
That's a very critical question. We were all shocked yesterday when we saw that our leaders are trying to adapt certain, I would say, values or Christian values that are practiced in the West. For me, I grew up in the West, so Christmas is not as the same as how it is we celebrate it in the West and how we did it in home. In home, we march on the streets. We be able to do other things. It's not like here we have Christmas tree, we have gifts. That's not what it is. So yesterday, many South Sudanese did not take that serious. The reasons that we do not have a religion problem. Back in the liberation, we can say that. We do have many churches in the country, but what is missing in the country is not us align ourselves with our Creator or with our Christian values. We are actually in need of factories. We are needing reconciliation. All of these things are missing in our country. And the thing about it, why South Sudanese were not moved by the national prayer breakfast is that the Pope Francis, a couple of years ago, brought our leaders into Vatican City, kissed their feet, and when they went back to the country, nothing happened. More violence happened, more abductions. So then Pope Francis decided he was going to come to South Sudan and be able to see if he can move the leaders forward and unite the people of South Sudan. That didn't work. So South Sudanese are saying that is not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is accountability. We need a tangible roadmap for this country to move forward. All the peace agreements have collapsed. More abductions, more violence. As you can see, citizens are being terrorized by those that were supposed to protect them. We saw that, 2 months ago in Boertown, where a reckless National Security Service terrorizing citizens. And there was incidents of lives lost in that. We need to understand that we need to professionalize our military services. We need to professionalize our leaders. We need to be able to elect leaders. So yesterday was more of a show where the President Salva and those that are around him wanted to align themselves with things that are being done in the West in a way to display a narrative that they are valuing things that are happening in the country. National prayer breakfast usually take place maybe a couple months or a year into a new year, such as here it's in February. but they did it before Christmas, which was very odd because it's one of those things where right now we're mourning a lot of things. We have seen many things are happening in our country, and it was not inclusive. We were missing certain individuals. For example, those that are outside that have not come into the country, Pagana Mum, you have Nial Deng Nial, you have those in prison like Dr. Riek Machar, and then also you have all of these people that were not yesterday seen. We were missing a lot of actors that we know that are very strong characters to help us move this country forward. So that's why South Sudanese did not see National Prayer Breakfast has something that would move them, because first they don't know what it is, because that's not our traditional. This is the first time being adapting something. That's something you have to go deep down to 10 states, 3 administrative area, and talk to them about what does this mean. And they need to see someone like our President Selfa, rather than seeing on social media. That's not what they need. People, even back in liberation, when we see John Garang come to our area, especially in the Nasser, and he comes and talk to us, that moves us, because now this is someone who's a leader in front of us and sitting with us and knows that we're going through all this. So there's more to that than just religion at the moment.
Thank you, Tut, for your insight. This is this prayer yesterday. The initial prayer yesterday, I thought that was a very good step toward a healing and peace and reconciliation to the nation. Like how you see, you and I, you are in the United States, and you see Congress, when they do these prayers, breakfast prayers, is due every February, and the national prayer was founded in 1953, okay? And the way that they found it is because all the political leaders want America in deep political crisis. And the party and political leaders, they cannot come together. And then one of the leaders come up with this idea that we have to have a breakfast prayers. And then they come together and they pray, they put all the political things that they are discussed, they put aside and they come together. And then they pray. And for that moment, 1953, that time they adapt that. Every year, all Congress, housing, and White House, whether they are Republican or Democrat, they come together in national prayer, and they invited 1,000 people in other countries to join the prayers. And before they found that, at the beginning, they start small and then grow up. And 200 years later, it is right now. As we know, the United States is 200 plus years old. Okay. And before the United States was founded, they went through what South Sudan is going through right now. And I think this way, the prayer yesterday, yes, of course, those other political leaders they were absent. Dr. Riek Machar is still in house arrest. And I think this is a way that the country is moving. If President start that, maybe next year, all other political leaders that outside and inside, they can come together and join the prayers. And I think the way that I see these breakfast prayers is because the peace cannot come in South Sudan if we cannot put the word of God in our heart, in the heart. The leaders in the country, not me and you, because we are outside. So if those leaders put the word of God in their heart, and they said, okay, this is it, we have to accept for the last 13 years, our people will be suffering. Let us take, it's not only the word of God itself, but the commitment. And they will move and unite the people together and move the country to the election. If what president have in mind that you have to unite it, the people and the leaders, political and SPLM leaders together, and they move the country to the election 2026, why not? But if he that honesty, that's how I see. Thank you for your input. Let me move our theme of today regarding about the youth. As you said, 70 or 80% of population in South Sudan is youth. and they use now, whether they use in diaspora or back home. So can you tell us about the role of the youth? How can they, because the youth are the one, can they, the leaders, whether the government or opposition, they can use the youth to fight their senseless war. We have seen what's happening in White Army, what happened for the last decade. As Pelayo using the White Army and the youth and then fight their war. So what can you do for the youth, the role of the youth to de-escalate the situation, in the violence in South Sudan? Mute yourself.
Yes, thank you for that. And first, things that we need to be able to paint out there is that peace cannot come by one person. All of us cannot be looking at President Salva Kiir and five vice president or the generals. All of us has a collective responsibility to do our own part. We're all born with our own desires and talent, just like how you invited me on your show, even though we have different political views, but we're able to sit down and discuss these things genuinely. So the role of the youth is that definitely the first thing they need to distance themselves from political parties and not be dragged into looking for someone to lift them up. The youth themselves are more. So what they need to pride themselves is that sports, poetry, music, filmmaking, all of these things are what bring a country into where it can actually thrive. Just like right now, our national basketball team has painted an image for us as very athletic, tall and athletic people. That already has put us on a map. So this has been a way for us to form a national identity, which is the first thing that we need. And thing that we need to first, the youth need to put in their head is this. Yes, our liberators have gone and they created their own history. We also have to create our own history individually. We cannot pick it back on others. When I started playing sports here back in early 2000, in the state of Iowa, there was just few of us that played basketball. But once we start becoming more and more seen as very good players, then people wonder where we're coming from. And then we say we're from South Sudan. At the time, it was Sudan, but we say we're in the South. So we already formed a national identity, starting with Manubo, and then also to Luwaldeng. And now we have so many basketball players that are being able to be seen. So that was a way to form a national identity. Now we have musicians. So even in South Sudan, we have musicians that are being listened to in East Africa and also abroad. This is a way for us to be able to build something. But we're not going to build a country through violence that was used back then for us to be to become a country. So, and that's where I see the role of the youth is: find your talent, use it to promote unity among your people, put your people on map. And another thing that is not talked about is that our young ladies, now they're dominating the modeling industry. That itself has formed has opened people's eyes. South Sudanese young women are tall, slim, and they're beautiful. And now they're actually competing in a national platform. This itself now has lifted us as a country, has changed the narrative of us being feed the children center for the world. That itself has been something that's been so associated with us negatively. We are just hunger and we just warmongers. These two have been erased, and people have seen that South Sudanese are more than just they're more than just warmongers or starving children. They actually can thrive if they're given the tools that can be able to help them, such as refugee camps, such as Kakuma. Kakuma has produced models and musicians. So even in a place where you cannot be able to be seen or have even a percentage to be successful, we have seen many of our young leaders coming out of Kakuma. So this is what we need to focus on youth. Let's step back from the political arena. Let's come back to these things and let's promote national unity. And we need to stop with the hatred, because hatred has been built in us. Reject that. We have to reject hatred in a way that we tell our elders that this is not where we're at right now. 10 to 20 years from now on, we're not going to have a lot of youth that are carrying guns. We're going to have very educated youth, those who love the country, and they will hate tribalism just by itself because they did not grow up in it. They will see it as toxic. So this is a huge role that the youth can do at the moment, engage in these things, and the country will be seen in the international or global conversation that this is a country that is moving forward. It just need more support.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, when I see the youth, the political leaders are use their political way, like what I see, like in Nasser incident in March this year, and we have seen our political leaders, they are using the youth, white army, to fight the ancestral war. And when I say that, I always say this, and I repeat this one in my show always, and I criticize the leaders using the youth. So instead of give them AK-47, why don't you give them a pen and notebook? Put them in school. Because as you know, you and I know that South Sudan is 95% youth are not educated. If we go in our villages, in our cattle camps, okay? So this population of youth are not educated, and the leaders are using them for their political games. And instead of give them a school education, educate them, okay? When the population of youth is educated, they will know exactly which leader is coming to them to brainwash them for their political agenda. So in that case, as one of the youth successfully in education, and also you are doing these activities to bring change to our country, what can you do to motivate these youth in home? I'm going to talk. We will talk more about our youth here in Diaspora, because here in Diaspora, whether in America, Australia, Canada, and Europe, those youth who are born here in Diaspora, we will talk more about that. But let us focus a little bit back home. That's where the crisis is.
Yes.
So what can you motivate those youth? Because we have two different youth, Brother Tut. There are two different youth in South Sudan. One, the youth are the Murah and the cattle camp. They are in the village. And the second youth are in the city, in Juba. They are in Yamajuba. They are in other university. Okay? They finish. So when I'm seeing, because I'm interact a lot in social media, some of the youth in diaspora, I mean in city, in Juba, for example, majority of youth, what they do now in their daily, they're just sitting, playing dominoes, advertiser. Some of them, most of them, they go attend wrestling matches, dancing, all kinds of stuff, But they are not invest their time, their energy for the nation building and for themselves to create something that positive to change their life and the life of the country. So what can you tell them to motivate them to do something better for themselves and for the nation?
Absolutely. No, it's a great question. And thank you for that. And thank you for differentiating the type of youth that we have in a country. For example, what I need to paint in our youth in South Sudan, whether in the village or in the towns, is that it's not what we were, it's what do we want to become? Because this is what will help us. We cannot work backward. that those that were in Lake State used to kill my grandfather, I got to go kill them. That's backward, right? Moving forward would be, okay, now I need to have more peace and more stability so that I can move my cattle around and then I can trade with those in Lake State, those in Upper Nile, and those in Equatoria, right? Now we're building an economic hub. So the problem that I see is our youth are stuck on who we are and not what we want to become. The biggest question is this. We did not defeat the Umar Bashir regime, right? We did not defeat it. What happened was a diplomatic engagement. Umar was pressured by stakeholders that have interests in South Sudan. So there were diplomatic engagement, and then that gave us a way for us to determine our own future. We determine our own future. The same with the youth in our country, especially in Juba and other places that are bigger and have more access to internet and other things. Take civic education back home. If you are a graduate, because Jama Juba graduate 500 a year or more, rather than sitting in Juba, go to your own village, go educate them of the things that you've learned. Just like me, myself, I left US back when I graduated. I went back home, and that's why now I have a stronger attachment toward the youth and also toward nation building, because I went and saw with my own eyes, and I was able to say, okay, what can I do? Even though I was sleeping in mud, drinking water that I'm not used to, and all of that, eating food that I'm not used to, but that gave me a way to connect with the people on the ground. So those who are in town, they need to go back home. Go take civic education, do projects. We need projects that are community buildings, such as planting a tree, even just storytelling. These things will help us. If you're in the village, also understand that right now your biggest economy is your cattle or your livestock. Use your livestock wisely. Do not get into this old traditional things of marrying too many wives. If you have that desire, get one wife. Now be able to use that in the village. Don't wait until there's a politician that will come into your area and he will be able to empower you, because now there are people waiting in the village for someone that is sitting in Juba waiting to be appointed to come and tell them what to do. They already know what they need in the village. They have life skills. We just need to empower them even more. So you can have the economy that you want in the village. You have everything you need because you've been existing and you've been surviving. Don't lower yourself thinking somebody else that is in the city coming from the Western world is better than you. No, I am not better than somebody that's in the village right now, because he might even have better life skills than me because that's his environment. The same thing with those in the city. They should not go back to the village thinking they're better than everybody just because you have a degree. That's not what it is. At the end of the day, it's about life skills that we need to move this country forward. So the biggest motivation that I would be able to emphasize more is that you can create your own future. Doesn't matter where you're at. You can do it. Don't think about who you are. Even now, there are those that are orphanage. They lost mom and dad. Now in their head, they're thinking, this is who I am. I'm just an orphanage. No. What do you want to become? And then that will help you think of the future. Now we have a lot of our youth going to other countries. They even going through the sea because they want a better life, even though some of them have gone through so much suffering in other countries, but they're able to create their own wealth. So we need to get away from us looking to someone to help us and look into ourselves and be able to to bring the things that we can help ourselves. So that's the biggest motivation that I can give our youth, is that it's not about who we are, it's what do you want to become.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And the future, you can only the one can shape your future. Absolutely. Thank you for that. It's really great info. Thank you. And also, my next question is regarding about the youth and the elders, also the spiritually elders in the community back home. So, what can you tell the elders, or can you tell the youth not to listen, or what to take advice to take from the elders or from the spiritual elders? Because some of the spiritual, they brainwash them using the old days belief and brainwash them. But we are in 21st centuries. And what they are using right now, they are using that because our youth back home, that our education, they still believe what the elders say. Okay. What positive message can you tell the elders, spiritual elders, not to brainwash the youth, okay, to put their life at risk and not to focus on their life for their progress and their community? Welcome.
Yes, what I've discovered, even with myself, being able to sit with some of the elders, is that they also have to see that you trying to go somewhere. If you're going to sit with an elder today, if I was sitting in a table where I have Pagan on my right, President Salva Kiir on my left, Dr. Riek Machar in front of me, and I have others such as Tabandang Mama Nyandengaram, I have to tell them that there's somewhere I'm going. They have to see that. And what we need to understand as the youth is to amplify what they have worked. We're not erasing the history. I'm coming with certain things to benefit them. Now, if I come into the country and I said, any veteran will receive incentive every month, and I make sure it reaches them, they will have no reason to fight me, right? So now I need to give them something that will benefit them. But in their head, they feel that they have failed, and also they are hated. So now they feel if I let go of my position today and a young person come, he's going to let me starve. And that will not move them. So the thing about it is that we need that I've been trying to talk to our elders about. There's a technological advancement. If I give you a computer now and you cannot be able to operate it, that means I can be able to do this better. I'm living in a different era than you are. So please, we need to work together. Not me coming to take what you have. No, I want you to work with me. What are your ideas? What do you think I can be able to amplify? Just like you talk about the national prayer breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Good gesture. It's a good gesture. Now it's for me to say, you know what? Okay, next year I need to include certain individuals to make it more inclusive. Then they're not going to see that. But our elders, they tend to fire back at the youth if you go aggressively, and that's where they feel they have to defend themselves from you because you're here to dismiss them or to erase what they work for, and that's not what it is. So to all the elders that we have in South Sudan, from the 5 vice presidents to the president to the national security directors to everyone that are in power, we are not here to take your position. We're not here to erase your legacy. That's not what it is. What we're telling you is that you have to see the era that we're living in. We're living in an era that I don't have to go fight my brothers in Lake State. I don't have to do that. I don't have to go all the way to other places such as Upper Nile to take their cattle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to be able to have a gun in my hand to eat. Those are no longer the survival skills that I need. The survival skills that I need is entrepreneurship mindset to be able to build a business and let it thrive. When I can build a business, now I can employ more South Sudanese rather than being able to to let street children just walk around. And these are things that we need. I need civic education. I need communal outreach, such as here we have in the West, we have community outreach that serve unfortunate children, those that do not have parents, all of these things. So then that will be able to be the skills that I need. So violence has to stop. That's the life that you guys lived back in the day. This is not what we're looking for right now. We're tired of it. We're tired of living in other people's countries where we're seen as just lazy when we're not lazy. We're actually paying so much money to other people in other countries where we can have this in our country. Right now, we have lawyers, we have doctors, we have engineers, we have so much wealth in Western world. But for them to move all of that to South Sudan, it has to be peaceful. They have to be able to live with their children. How about we build parks? How about we amplify on our natural resources, such as the Buma? Right now, Buma has a great resources of national parks, wildlife, all of this. We have those things. So violence has to stop. Stop telling the youth, stop using the youth as your vehicle. And that's what I really be emphasizing with our leaders, that please forget your differences. We know what you guys don't like about each other. We know it so much to the point you don't even have to talk. I know why Pagan and Diek don't like each other. I know why such and such don't like each other, because they're the one telling us, right? This has to stop. So, and that's why now it's more of allow us to work and change things in the country. Don't give us a position in the country to silence us. And I gave an example to my brother, Mabir Garam, that now you're being appointed. Now you've been vocal. Don't allow yourself to be silenced, but to go in to work with the elders. Whether he read that message or not, we'll see. But Mabir now is someone that is able to move little things that he can. We have young people such as Dine. A dude has been polling people in, has been really convincing people, but still there's people still do not see a dude in a positive way just because of her connection with president. But when you look at people like Dine and Mabir, and then we have other young guys. Unfortunately, we just lost one guy in the parliament that was assassinated 2 weeks ago. That guy could have helped us so much, you see? And this is what we don't want. We don't want our youth to go in these platforms and then they get assassinated. So let us work with you. We will help you. We will bring new ideas. Even me today, I want the veterans to receive the incentives every month. Whether you're a 5-star or you're on the bottom, you will receive your monthly salary. This will be able to help them, give them medical care where we have, we're building infrastructure. Unfortunately, we do not have these infrastructures in our country, but these are the things that a youth would do because they have more fresh ideas.
Thank you so much. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely correct, because the youth, like the leaders now, they need like to make sure that the youth have to be used in positive way to build the country up, like the Indians, the economy Indians, because it can be based on the youth. When the youth are engaged, like creating the jobs, give the money to the people who have experience, have a way that create a job for the rest, and then that's how the country will grow. And you and I live in this country, and this country is the reason why this country is very successful, because from the middle class, right? And the middle class is based on the people who have businesses, not from the government, you know. And our country now, everybody is their eye on you have to be a MPs, you have to be a general, all kinds of, but you have to start from this small business and then grow your stake. And that's before we switch to the youth in diaspora, my follow-up question regarding about like specifically, what message can you tell the White Army, like they have been used right now as leaders are using them as a political? What message can you tell them to distance themselves from the politics? Not
Yes.
only White Army alone, even the Gilwings, like we have seen in Werab. Werab is one of the states in the crisis because they are killing each other, and those are the youth too. So, what message can you tell all these youth from White Army to Gilwing and other youth that have been recently? There is another group emerged in Jonglei called Red Bell. You see, so
Yeah.
all of these, those are the youth,
Yes.
So we and they are using the violence in a way that to frame themselves to go and looting other people property, killing other innocent civilian, all of those. What message can you tell these youth using this violence to stop what they are doing?
Yeah. The biggest thing, I spent several years with the White Army because I wanted to know who are they and what do they do.
Right.
Back in 20, I would say the most I spent with them 2020 to 2021. I was able to study them. So the biggest problem we have today with all these violence, our armed youth it's a symptom of a failed system, right? Where the youth felt that they're not protected and they have to protect themselves.
Right.
In most of my videos on my page, I have really been engaging the White Army because these are people that I've ate with, drink with, and all these things, right? So the first time that the incident in Nasser happened, my thing is I was not happy. The reason I was not happy because we lost many strong youth that could help us today, and we're never going to get them back. So I wanted a peaceful way that we could have done it, and we lost so many of our youth, our families. Even that week, we buried so many of our families. The biggest thing that I told them back in 2020 is that we cannot be holding gun for the rest of our lives. Because some of us, if I didn't leave South Sudan, I would have been in a situation where I would have been in a war, and so many times. So we need to leave this idea of killing, looting, and all this, and be able to put effort into other things such as going to school, raising a family, and all of this. But the problem is the insecurity in the country has made the youth be able to pick up arms. Even in Nasser, I told the youth that please stop recording videos that revealing live extrajudicial killing, because that itself cannot be justified, because those things will scare everyone. Even someone that wants to help you cannot help you when they
Right.
see you. You round up some 10 to 15 people and you murder them straight there. Even though you're the victim right now, you're not your case is not going to be heard. So if you capture someone, talk to them, let them know, hey, I don't have a problem with you, but my problem is that I am put in a position where I have to pick up arms. So, and this is the case with many of our armed group, even Red Bell movement. They felt that there's no one protecting them from their neighbors who are abducting their children, abducting their cattle. If you go to Lake State, the same thing. They feel that way all the way to Warab, and Equatoria. We have that also. So armed youth group is everywhere. So the biggest thing we need to look at, if we're all facing the same problem, how about this? Why don't we all youth come together? Let's find a centralized place in South Sudan. Let's go talk. Let's go come with 5 things that we demand from our leaders. If you guys do this, if the leaders even see us come together, they're themselves going to have to listen, because they see now, okay, these armed youth groups are all linked together. So the only issue now is that the armed youth groups are not able to communicate with each other, and they don't know that they're all fighting the same thing. So now all they have to do now is say, okay, you know what? There's 5 things that we need to do, and then we will lay our weapons down. I've sent a lot of messages to General Paul Nung and those are leaders. Listen to us. Dialogue is not a crime, or is not going to make you look weak. Let's have a dialogue. Even now, the red belt leader is being hunted down. So how about this? Let's have a dialogue. Allow us pick youth, not the elders. Pick youth that can be able to talk to each other. For myself, I've done that. Many people has felt that if I talk directly to the white army, they're going to have they're going to be able to hate me. They didn't hate me because I'm young like them, telling them, look, you cannot kill people live. That doesn't help us. So let's look at other means for us to be able to put our weapons down so we don't terrorize everyone in South Sudan. Because right now it has a white army. The name itself has now gone on negatively, although they were fighting for their right. Now it's in a negative way. The same thing with Red Belt is going the negative way. Even in Warap, we had the Galwang, and we had those that were up there. Even now we have the Abashuk. The Abashuk also, they're fighting there for their rights. The same thing with Agulek of Shulu Kingdom. Also, they have youth in these groups. So
and Manyumiji in Gotoria.
Yes, in Victoria, we have the Aero Boys and all of that. So we have those things. So now we need a serious dialogue. And this is what, if the president is very serious about this, the next national prayer breakfast, how about we have a dialogue dedicated to the armed youth? Right now, don't hunt down the red belt leader and get rid of him. How about this? Allow certain individuals that are close to him for him to be able to talk. The same thing with Kang Makane, who's the leader of the White Army in Nasser. Rather than sending someone like Governor Dollar telling the people in the area, I'm coming to fight you, how about talk to Governor Dollar, tell him, look, if you want Kang Makane to put his arms down, create a dialogue, because Selfa cannot be everywhere. He's only one person. So all of us could be able to talk to each other. Even me, myself, I wanted all our elders from Nasser County to come to Nasser. Let's go and talk. It's not President Salva Kiir only responsibility, because they also have responsibility. I've been really hard on Simon Kunpoch, Ezekiel Lorgarkot, because they're right there next to Salva. How about you help them rather than you coming with your own ideas to create more division, to create more violence in the country? This is not going to help the youth, because the youth are right now desperate. They feel they've been left out. They feel no one is protecting them.
Absolutely correct. Thank you. So let's move, before we move to our youth in diaspora, those of you who are watching us in Facebook and YouTube and also Clubhouse, I'll open a question. Some of you you can write your question in comment section, and then I will pull it up and Tut can answer them for you. And those of you in Clubhouse, I will open your hand raise on. If you have a question, you will raise your hand, and I will bring you up. And the question will be only 10 minutes, and then we will record the day. Let us turn our discussion to the youth in diaspora. We have seen our youth, because there are a lot of stuff that our youth are exposed culturally, like what they see in high school, middle school, college, or wherever they interact with their colleague in the community, in the other non-South Sudanese. And the hardest spot where our youth are struggling in Australia. We have seen a lot of youth in Australia, in South Sudanese, are involved into the crime, drug trafficking. A lot of them lost their life in a very young age. So what can we do as a parent, and also the youth and the community leaders, church leaders, what can we do to save a life of our young in diaspora?
Yeah, this is a very sensitive topic, especially for those of us that are here in the West. When I first came to the United States, I was only 9 years old. So I lived through it. I've lost many of my friends, lost a lot of my relatives to gun violence, alcohol, and all these things that are hurting our youth in diaspora. The sad part is that we have a country that is a mess and is going through crisis. The same thing, our youth are dying in the Western world. This has become a huge, devastating moment for us as South Sudanese. So one thing I can say, and my generation will agree to this, it's not easy growing up in a South Sudanese household. It is one of the toughest things because you're growing up as a child. You go to school, you see other children being loved and being cared for, while you do not receive that at home. You have to create your own way. So many of the kids are growing up in a house, no one knows them. Their parents don't know who they are because the parents are working. So the first thing the parents needs to do here, even now, me being a parent, is that have connection with your children. Yes, you have to pay bills. You have to pay all of these things, but don't miss the opportunity to connect with your child, because if that child is living under your roof and you don't even know who they are, you don't know what they think, have a conversation with them. If there's two of you in a house, which is the big thing right now in our community, we do not have two parent household. Many of our children are growing up in a single parent. So the biggest thing is, if there's two of you, please use your hours wisely. If the father is working overnight, the mom will be with the children during the day, and she'll be able to see what they're going to be able to do in their activities. If the father have weekend, do family activities together with your children. This will create a bond as a family. The thing has become now is that the mothers are left fending with their children. So biggest thing we need to understand is that this country need two people. It can be one person. So father being in a house is a huge, huge asset. The father need to be in the house. I even experienced it myself when I was growing up, having an adult father in the home as a boy. Because if the boy is growing up in a house where the father is absent, he's going to be very emotional. He's not going to have the life skills that a man would be able to produce on him. So fathers need to be home. You got to be able to allow that father to be home. Also, mothers are needed because they're nurturing. The mother has a way of nurturing the child and give the child certain things that a father would not be. So we need to work together, despite differences that we have, just for our children. Now, there's statistics that I was reading about that children that are growing up in a single home, especially the South Sudanese, tend to have a lot of the mental issues that we're having, a lot of mental breakdown, low self-esteem, bipolar. All of these things are symptoms of a child not having a loving, caring home. So this has become a big issue. Also, the report that I was reading, and I'll be able to find it and forward it to you, is that the post-war trauma, this carries your DNA. All the things that we have struggled as a parent, for those of us that grew up in the struggle, we have seen certain things, even being exposed to war at an early age. You tend to carry this with you. Understand your trauma that you had back home. Don't allow that to be able to hurt your children. So this is what it's killing our youth today, is that it's starting from the family. We need to unite ourselves, because even now the diaspora do not have one centralized community center that can help us. This has been a very, very, um, critical moment that we could have had. Because if we have one centralized section where we can go talk about our children and all these stuff, it would help us. So we do need to have a community engagement. We need to create platforms that our youth can be able to interact with one another. In my era, when I was growing up in Des Moines, Iowa, we had so many gatherings with South Sudanese, and this is one thing that helped me today to build to have a national building mindset, because I grew up with all South Sudanese. We had platforms where we were able to see each other and create a love for one another. So this needs to come back. 2013 really broke us. We were able to overcome a lot of things before that, but now this has broke us so much. So this is a critical moment that we need to come together as a country. Look at Australia. You see so much violence happening there, and it's because of all this war trauma that are being carried by the elders. You see it's here in the US, Canada. We have all of it's a similar trait we can see. So I think it's time for us to come together. Let's create a centralized community outreach program projects that we can do to save our youth, because these youth here in the US, also Australia, Canada, Europe, they have so much to offer, because by age 15 they're able to work and create wealth. By the time they're 21, they could have a full-time job, they could have a vehicle, they could have a house. These are the most promising um, assets that we need to save, rather than us as men going back home and leave these kids here and then go create another family. That is not going to help us. If you're going to do that, you got to be able to bring certain things that you can come together and help your children, because in a long run, we're going to lose so much of our youth here, and also we're losing our youth in South Sudan. This will really reduce our population. Even in East Africa, we'll be the smallest country
Mhm.
because of the alarming rate of us losing lives from everywhere.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you to absolutely, and absolutely, you're right, because the war of 2013 has broken our social public. I remember 24 years ago when I came to this country, we usually have a lot of events. Michigan, we'll have a lot of birthday party, wedding, New Year, Christmas, you name it. Even May 16, we celebrate here before the 2013 war. But when the 2013 war, things thing went apart. People cannot go to each other. So this, which is my next question, lead to what can we do as a community in diaspora to connect, to bring, to connect ourselves once again, so that we can do as a South Sudanese. We cannot see one another. Tut cannot see me, Madid, you are a Dinka, or Madid cannot see Tut as a Nuer, but we are South Sudanese. What can we do to erase that mindset that we put in our head? We can reconnect our social public again. What can we do? That's a question that John, you can go ahead with that question. There's a question John McCain has, and you say that what can you tell the youth in diaspora who divided themselves to support their community in South Sudan to integrate violence in South Sudan? Go ahead with those two questions.
Yeah, thank you, John, for that question. I've sat down with some of our network and the people that have seen what's happening in our country. I'm thinking I have planted and then I put everything in place for youth summit. Every year in diaspora, we have to have a summit. That's the first thing, because we need to find a place where we can sit down and talk. So right now, I have proposed a youth summit that would be held during summer. We will bring some of our people that have made it, especially in the West. We have Luwaldeng. We have these guys that are in sports. We have models. We have filmmakers. We have all of these people. We have scholars. We have so many South Sudanese now that are very educated. Let's bring all of them together in one place and have a panel where we can bring our community, bring them in this summit, so that we can learn from each other and be able to further our livelihood in diaspora and also in South Sudan. So that's one thing that I see we needed. Now, even the July 9th is no longer celebrated. Our spirit is broken. But I remember the day when we had our independence. We didn't sleep for 3 days. All of us were in Minnesota, Iowa, all of these places, Kansas City. We were everywhere. So what I can say is that we do need a youth summit once a year, and Australia can have theirs. Also, Canada can have theirs, and Europe at the same time. So these are the things that we need. We do need a community projects is to engage the youth. That's what a lot of countries that come in here, like Nigerians, they have these. Let's connect ourselves. Let's have a connection and build a platform for the youth to be able to engage themselves in that sense. Because now technology has been one thing that's helping us big time.
Thank you, and thank you, John Mangar, for your for your wonderful question. So my last question regarding about this is about what can the youth in diaspora do to help the youth back home, because engagement of youth for doing something that will help them to bring them out from what activities they are doing, like negative activities, if they are involved into drug or any other thing. Because when the youth are doing nothing, they are not engaging in community activities, because right now, South Sudanese, we do not have an activity, as you mentioned, that we should have at least have an organization that can bring all the youth together, engage them in the community, and that's what can the youth in diaspora do to make to connect with the youth back home for the nation building?
Yes, I've seen some of them have started that a little bit. Now that those that are, yeah.
Mm.
So I've seen a lot of the athletes go back home, do youth camps. We have models that go home and take personal hygienes that the young girls need, stuff that can be able to empower them. So according to the plan that I have placed, that I feel that it would be really um, empowerment is focus on 5 objectives. First is promote intro-tribal understanding and national cohesion through youth-led dialogues and collaborations. For example, let's the youth that are here in diaspora return home and create these things, that these projects that be able to connect them, that will be able to educate themselves on others that are next to them, because some of them don't even know. Even in Upper Nile, you might not even know your neighbor, and Upper Nile belongs to so many ethnic groups. The same thing in Lake State, the same thing in other places. So we need awareness and civic education, because we do have scholars that are able to do that. The second is um, reduce the impact of division and political tactics by fostering critical thinking and collective action. So even those that are in Juba and other cities, they can do this. I saw a youth group that recently just arose, and they be able to have a dialogue with themselves and be able to connect other youth. Strengthen local education and infrastructure.
Mhm.
Those things we need to talk to the armed youth. Stop ambush on roads, because somebody might be able to invest, and while he's taking his investment to the city, you ambush them. That discourages them from doing anything. Build sustainable livelihood opportunity that deter youth participation in violence, because once we able to give them things to do, that will distract them from engaging in the wrong things that there are right now in the country. So these things will be able to help us, because here we can have resources rather than looking at the country to have resources and use them. That will take time. Also, community media for peace, like yourself right now. What you're doing is you're promoting peace building and national building. That's what we need, because you're able to reach millions and millions of followers within 30 minutes. Imagine the impact of that. Also, traditional leaders and youth dialogue forum. We need this, because if we can bring traditional leaders, let them know we are here to help you, and they be able to ask, okay, how could you help us? And we'll give them the way that we can facilitate a peace dialogues within themselves. They might be able to forgive each other, because they're the one that lived through life where they lost families and friends through all of that. So these things, I feel, we can use them in nation building, and to remember, what do we want to become? Not to think of what we were. What do we want to become as a nation? And that's the biggest thing. That should be the theme for us to be able to elaborate more on bringing all of us together.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. Absolutely. The last question that John Mangara is asking you, he said that do youth really rally in diaspora united identify themselves to speak one voice as a South Sudanese? Very good question.
That is, and I can see that John is also is holding us accountable in
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
West, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is a great question. We have to be able to unite ourselves here, and I believe, by God's grace, once we put in place of a youth summit and all of us show up, that will even give the youth in South Sudan a hope to be able to look at us as a partnership, not somebody that is just there to suck things out of them, or the resources, or use them to elaborate ourselves. So definitely it needs to start from here in the diaspora.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you, John Mangar, for your engaging in this. These are very, very crucial and very important questions that we need them. So thank you. We come to our to our end of the show. So let me give this opportunity to my good brother to give him his close remark before I will let him go. So to go ahead, give us your close remark, and thank you for coming next stage.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you, brother, for having me here, and the Lakes media audience being able to engage with us. This has been a very fruitful discussion, and what I can leave with ourselves, not only the youth, the country as a whole, is that our country was not became a nation through tribal competition. Tribal competition needs to stop, and it start with ourselves. I cannot keep telling others to stop tribal competition while I don't practice it myself. So let's focus on nation building, not looking at anybody else to help me, but you yourself, you can start. And start with a conversation. of having a conversation. If anything happened in another state in South Sudan, speak up and say this is wrong and we need to stop that. So once we speak up for one another and we stand up for one another, this will help us to have one voice. And that itself is what we desire. We all desire our country to be a unified nation where even Ugandans, Kenyans, Tanzanians, Ethiopian can see that the South Sudanese youth do have a story, and they have a narrative, and they have a turnaround agenda, which means their country will be a better country where they can even be able to come and have their children go to school in South Sudan. I would love to see that rather than us flee into neighbor countries. I would love for them to come to us so that they can see us as a collectible unit that is bringing a positive growth to East Africa, and not only East Africa, the Africa as a whole. So thank you, my brother. I really appreciate this opportunity, and I'm looking for more discussion in the future.
Thank you so much, Tut Riek, for coming into Lake Media and engage. This is a very important discussion our South Sudanese youth in diaspora and backup need to hear. And to echo to voice of Tut's message, my message to all South Sudanese youth is both at home and abroad is very simple. We are one people. Our tribes, our languages, and our culture should be a resources of pride, not divisions. Let us build a friendship across communities, challenges the narrative that separate us, and lead with nurture and encourage. If we, the youth, choose the unity, then the future of the South Sudan will be brighter than the path that try to divide us. So this interview highlights the powerful role of youth in shaping South Sudanese future. As the country continue to narrative, political and social challenges, voices like Tut Riek Jikany remind us that the genuine peace begins with youth, the people who are willing to bridge divides, question harmful narratives, and lead with are willing to the perspective shared here reflect growing movement among South Sudanese youth, one that prioritize the unity, dialogues, and nationally identity that raise above our tribe lines. Thank you so much, Tut. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will bring you back again next time.
Absolutely.
With the nation discussion. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Okay.
Thank you, guys, for those of you who tuning in YouTube, Facebook, and Clubhouse. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. May God bless you all. Peace be to you.
We Santo Man Kolnyang Mike Sholgrangawan Yupit Luping Yarul Pandiri Shet Maniel Anaketon Niel Jilo Wenetona Dol. I think kick Madit Majak in